Good evening. My name is Rebecca Exeter, and I work on behalf of the dairy farmers in the Southeast, connecting you to dairy's delicious nutrition. This evening, we are at Barrington Dairy in Montezuma, Georgia, and you are in for such an amazing treat because your dairy farmer and tour guide, Jordan Gelber, is going to give you the behind the scenes look at how they care for their cows and their land, and ultimately how nutritious milk ends up on your table. And afterwards, we're going to join her and Erica Key, founder of award-winning blog Eating with Erica, for a fabulous recipe demo. So hopefully you grabbed all the ingredients to make this super simple, dairy delicious meal. This tour is being held through Zoom and live streamed to Facebook and YouTube. If you're joining us on Zoom, please use the Q&A feature to submit questions to Jordan. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, put them in the chat or comments, and we will ask Jordan as many as we can. We want this to be as interactive as possible, so please use these features to communicate with us this evening. Jordan, can you say hello and tell us a little bit about your farm?
Hi, welcome to Barrington Dairy. I'm Jordan Gelber, and this is our family farm. We milk 12,000 cows about, and we started working here at this farm about 2007. And then we had the opportunity to purchase it in 2013. My husband takes care of all the crops that feed all the cows here. He grows them all. And my father-in-law, Pete, he is the overall manager. He takes care of the cows and most of the employees. And then my mother-in-law also works here full-time. She's one of the veterinarians that we have on staff. We have 190 employees that work here. Most of them live locally in town. And it's a pretty big deal around here because we're one of the largest employers in this very rural area. So this farm is a big output for this area. So my father-in-law, Pete, he's actually not from a dairy farm. He's from the Bronx, grew up there, graduated from high school there. The reason he even got into dairy farming, they would go to a camp upstate in New York in the summertime to keep busy, and he would go and help the farmer down the road that had some dairy cows, and he got interested in it and went to college for it and started milking cows then and worked his way up. So that's how he got into the dairy business.
Wow, that is an amazing story, Jordan. So did you grow up on a dairy farm, or did you have a little bit of a dairy background before you came into the family business?
I did. I grew up on a small dairy farm in Western Maryland. And I don't know, I think I'm like the fourth generation for that farm. But of course, I moved away. I met my husband in college and moved down here to Georgia with him. And we have two little kids. You'll get to see them later. And they're the third generation for our farm now.
That is quite an amazing family story, Jordan. Thank you so much. And the farm looks beautiful from where I'm sitting. I am super excited to see how, learn about the cows and see how you all care for them and the land. And it looks like actually our first stop, which is the freestall barn, is right there behind you. So if you want to go ahead and walk us inside and tell us a little bit about what these pretty ladies are doing in there.
Sure. This set over here just came back from the milking parlor. So they're all done for the evening until their next milking. We milk the cows 3 times a day. So they just came back, and the first thing they like to do when they come back is get a drink of water, and then they go to eating. And this is a corn silage TMR mix we have down here. The cows eat the whole corn plant. We chop it up into little 3/4 of an inch bits, and then we instill it in plastic so that it's airtight and it gets fermented, and it has a whole bunch of good flavors for the cows. They really like it. And then we have nutritionists that we hire for the farm that helps us make up the ration for the cows. He specifically tells us how much of what cow feed to put in with the cow's feed to mix it up. So we use, other than the corn silage, we'll mix in some grasses, a lot of byproducts. The cows are great recyclers. So things that humans can't eat anymore, the cows love it. We do brewer's grain and citrus pulp, cottonseed hulls, all kinds of stuff that humans can't do anything with. So
that's amazing. I didn't realize that cows can eat all those things that us humans can't. They are definitely the ultimate upcyclers. Now, do you guys grow a lot of the stuff that the cows eat there, or where does it, besides some of the products like the brewer's grain and that come from outside, but the corn, and you mentioned a nutritionist. So how often, I guess, does the nutritionist come to check on those cows?
Our nutritionist comes every 2 to 3 weeks, I believe. But he's constantly checking in and sending updates and stuff through email and on the computer. But our feed department makes changes and updates the feed constantly for the cows. So and the corn silage we do here on our land. We have land for the corn silage, but we do buy a little bit of corn from the neighboring farms around us, because we just don't have quite as much land as we need to make all the corn silage they want to eat. So,
well, you were mentioning earlier in your introduction about how many people work on the farm and what an economic impact you have there in the community. Sounds like you continue that economic impact by working with the farmers nearby to purchase their crops from them. So just shows again what a great attribution you guys are to the community there. Now, looking at their feed, I'm also seeing a little bit of some interesting things going on there in the barn. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about those, looks like fans, and what the cows are doing while they're in there, other than enjoying that delicious, nutritious meal.
Yeah, so it's pretty hot and humid down here in Georgia, and our cows like to stay cold. Cool, they won't feel good if they don't stay cool. So we have fans running on a thermostat, and they kick on when it hits a certain degree level, when it gets hot enough, and then they stay on if it never goes below that. And then the sprinklers are on timers that also kick on with the thermostat. And then they run in cycles every, I think like minute and a half or so. They spray on top of the cows to keep them cool. And you can see the cows really like it. It doesn't bother them one bit, and it feels really nice.
They definitely look happy and content in there. So some other things that you guys do to keep them feeling good and producing awesome milk. What are they standing on? And what do they lay down? I can see some in the background that aren't standing. Looks like they're laying down. What are they laying on?
Well, first I'll say right up here at the feed alley where they're standing eating right now, there's a rubber mat, and that's just for comfort while they're eating so that they don't have to stand on the hard concrete. And then we have the concrete behind them. It's grooved so that they don't slip and fall. And then we have their bedding back here, and it's sand bedding. These are free stalls, and they're filled with sand, and the sand here stays very cool to the touch. So it's nice and comfortable for them. And then it's soft also for them to lay down in. It doesn't hurt their legs or rub or anything like that. And we keep it pretty clean. We change out the sand twice a week. And in between that, we rake it. So when the cows leave and go to the milking parlor, the person that comes through and cleans the alleyways, we run a flush system that runs water down the alleyways, and it cleans all the manure up. And then we scrape, and then we have a person go through and rake the beds so that they're all nice and flat, and the sand isn't pushed up too far in front of the cows.
Very cool. And so that water that you mentioned that cleans it out, do you guys reuse that water too?
Yeah, we reuse the water in the sand. We have a sand settling system that rinses it all down, and then we separate it out so that the sand can be reused. And then water is then collected into the lagoons, and we use that to spray out on the fields. We apply it out on our crops.
Just another way that dairy farmers are some of the best environmentalists and really care about the sustainability for sure. So we do have a question coming into our chat right now, and this is from Teresa. She wants to know what kind of cows are these? She's asking what sort of breed are the cows that you guys have there on the farm?
These black and white cows are Holsteins. That's mainly what we have. There's 6 different dairy cow breeds, but what we have mainly here on the farm is Holsteins.
Okay. And another question we have coming on social media is, do the cows have access to water all day long, or there are certain times that they are?
Yeah, they have free choice water. And the waters are cleaned out every time they go to the milking parlor also. So we have somebody come in and dump them out and scrub them, clean them up, and then they get fresh water put in.
And then another question coming in, somebody has a really, really good keen eye because they noticed something on the cows and it was up close and it looked like some sort of a, we'll call it a necklace or that was around the cow's neck. Can we go back inside there and get a peek at that and learn a little bit what that is?
Sure. He's sorry, he's pushing up his feet over here so the cows get some more fresh feed. Those are what we refer to as a cow Fitbit. So they track the cow's steps, and then they also track the cow's stomach to see how well it's working. We can kind of use it to judge when a cow's about to get sick or if she's not acting right. It's a good way to keep track, because we have so many cows, to keep track of who's not doing well, and that way we can catch it early enough and try to help her out, get her treated, and get her back to feeling good.
Wow, it is a Fitbit for cows for sure. And the technology you guys use to track everything is really amazing. We are going to have time for one more question before we get ready to move on to our next stop. And I've got one coming in here on Zoom from Roberta. And she says, I was noticing how clean the cows are. Thank you for explaining why. But she wants to know, do the cows ever go out to pasture?
So when they're milking, our cows stay in the barn here. Again, hot and humid in Georgia. They don't really like being out in the sun, especially when they're milking like this. It's very uncomfortable. So while they're milking, which is about 9 months out of the year or so, no, that's wrong, 10 months out of the year or so, they're in the barn. But then they go out and pasture for about 2 months when they're in their dry off season, which means they're not milking and they're getting ready to have a calf.
Thank you for that explanation, Jordan. Really appreciate it. So I think that is probably all the time we have here at our first stop, the freestall barn. And so thank you again for providing the absolute best care possible for those cows. They really look super happy. I know that in Georgia, it definitely gets hot and humid, and I can't think of a better place to be than in that beautiful, clean, cool barn. So while we give Jordan the opportunity to move on to our next stop on the tour, we are going to go to our first poll. So if you guys want to take a look here, the question is, how much of a cow's diet cannot be eaten by people? Jordan talked a little bit about cows being the ultimate upcyclers and the fact that they can eat things that humans cannot, things that typically would end up in a landfill, like the brewer's grain or citrus pulp or cotton hulls. Those sorts of things would typically go into the landfill, but instead we can turn around and give it to our cows. So if you guys want to go ahead, we'll give you a little bit of time here to answer that question. Is it 30%, 50%, or 80%? Okay, I see those results are coming in. We have some smart people joining us today for sure. And totally 80%, the majority of you guys got that right, of what cows eat cannot be eaten by humans. They have 4 unique stomach compartments. A lot of people say they have 4 stomachs, but it's actually 1 stomach and 4 different compartments that work super hard to turn all those ingredients into nutritious, delicious milk that provides you with all the essential nutrients you need. Okay, so I see that Jordan has made her way to the milking parlor now. And let's see, oh, have we gotten over there yet? I think we are about to give her a couple more minutes till she makes it over there. We'll get inside. Okay. Once we enter into the milking parlor, I think you guys are going to see some amazing things there that you have never seen before. The Barrington Dairies has a different milking system than any that I've ever seen. And we'll take it while she's still making her way over there. We're going to take a couple other questions that we have here in the chat. And let's see, I think the question is, did you say that there are 12,000 cows being milked on this farm? And the answer is yes. Jordan did say that they have about 12,000 cows being milked there. It is a family farm, and they have employed a little over 100 people on their farm, really giving back to the economic system in their community. Okay, are we into the milking parlor just yet? Let's see. Is a bit of a distance. Okay.
Okay, so what you're seeing now is one of our milking parlors. It's called a rotary parlor. So the cows walk on voluntarily, and then they ride it around in a circle to get milked. So once they walk on, they get pre-dipped with an iodine solution to help clean their teats off. And you're going to see that right now. See, he's dipping each teat to clean it off. And then we have the next guy here. He is stripping each of the cows to make sure that their milk is good and to stimulate stimulate the milk letdown. And then a few feet away, this guy is he's wiping each of the teats clean with towels, and we wash and dry them and reuse them. This also stimulates the milk letdown. And then they ride a little bit further down the line. And then these two fellas, they put the milkers, attach the milkers on so the cows can start to get milked. And then the cows ride on the carousel for 8 minutes. And our rotary parlor here has 120 stalls to it. So most of the time they're always filled. The cows walk in and fill each stall. So it takes only 90 seconds after they walk on to get attached to the milker. And then, like I said, that's 8 minutes around till they're off the rotary. And during that time, the cows milk. We milk them 3 times a day, and each milking is around 30 pounds or so. This is the inside of looking out at the cows as they're going around the rotary here. They're very curious, so they're going to be looking at you with their ears up, staring at you. Our cows right now, they milk about 90 pounds a day on average per cow. That's about 11 gallons of milk per cow a day. And here you see the milkers are starting to come off now. They've already milked out. It's pretty quick. They let the milk down really fast. As you can see, this one's starting to slow down, letting some of the milk out. So there's a weigh machine that tests when the milk isn't coming out as much anymore, and then it automatically pulls the milker off. She's post-dipping each of the teats with a stronger iodine solution to make sure that the teat ends don't get any infections after just releasing all the milk. And then they're going to start backing off when they get to the end here. They're going to start backing off. There you go. They're backing off now, and they're going to head back to the barn, and they'll get to eat some more and go lay down. They don't spend very much time in the milking parlor, as you can tell. So they have a pretty relaxed life. And those are when the cows are entering over here. And see, that one's excited. They get a little frisky after they get milk, some of them. Okay, so now we're in the tanker, or the filter and cooling room. So these are the filters here. All the milk runs through filters, help clean out any debris or dirt or anything, and then it runs these pipelines into the chiller. And this chiller plates here are run with cold water, and it takes the milk from about 101 degrees straight out of the cow, and it cools it down to 35 degrees. And then all the extra water from our chiller plate, we recycle it and we use it back in the barns to help clean out the barn walkways. So all of our stuff is recycled here. We try to reuse as much of it as we can, and then once it can't be reused with the cows, then it goes out onto the fields to help with the crops. So it goes up through these pipelines. And then we have a direct load. So these pipes are taking all the milk right after it's been cooled directly out here to the tanker trucks. So direct load means we don't have a storage tank on the farm. All the milk goes straight into the milk trucks that are going to take it to the processing centers. And these trucks hold 7,000 to 8,000 gallons of milk. And they're insulated, so they stay cold at the 35 degrees. And they normally make it to the processor in less than 48 hours onto the store shelf for you guys to buy.
Wow, that was so cool to see a cow carousel. And learn how milk is never touched by human hands. Okay, so it looks like we are coming into the last stop of our tour, and it looks like I see a lot of tanker trucks, a truck bay there. Can you tell us a little bit about what we're seeing there, the trucks that you have, a little bit with that process? You touched on it with the direct load system, and of course that milk is never touched by human hands. So what goes on in this area, Jordan?
Well, this is where the milk is loaded onto the trucks. Just like we just shown you, it comes out of the pipe room there and direct loads straight onto a truck right after it's been cooled. And then the trucks are picked up and taken to the processing centers. We have 2 right now that are hooked up. They just switched one of the trucks out, and I think we do about 21 tanker loads a day. Yeah, 21 tanker loads a day.
That's a lot of milk. So we have just a little bit of time here for some Q&A. Some questions were coming in while you were in the milking parlor, and some were coming in back when you were at the barn. So I want to go through and try and get to as many as we possibly can. So keep them coming in on Zoom and on Facebook there. So we have another one about the barns. When you said there were 12,000 cows, how many barns are there to house that many cows?
Well, technically we have 2 different milking parlor sites. So we have 2 different farms here. And this is just a rough number because some of the barns don't all have milk cows in them. Some of them have the cows when they're about to calve in, but there's probably 12 to 15 on each farm.
Okay, wow. And then another question is about that carousel that we saw. And she said that it was absolutely amazing to see something like that. Never seen a carousel in action like that for cows, for sure. But have you always milked them 3 times a day, or do they get milked 2? Like what's the process there behind 2 to 3 times a day?
On our farm, we've always done 3 times a day. Some farms only do twice a day. It kind of fits whatever their plan is at the farm, the way that they can milk. We have enough time and employees that we can run the cows through 3 times a day. Some farms can only do twice because they can only get the cows through and milk twice and get the equipment cleaned in between. So 3 times a day is what we've always done here, yes.
And then another question we have is, how much does a cow weigh? So I know you said you have Holsteins there. So what's the typical weight of a Holstein cow?
I want to say the average is 1,500 pounds, but there can be some bigger ones.
Okay, not a small animal by any means. And then another question is, are cows, are they friendly people? Are they not friendly people? Sorry. Are they friendly? Do they like, when we saw them in the barn, they were kind of, going up and nosing each other. So are they considered friendly animals?
They can be. They have personalities. So some of them are really curious, really friendly, will sniff, lick your hands, let you rub on them. Other ones are a little more standoffish. That's not really their interest. So they definitely have personalities. There's boss cows, there's quieter ones. So yes, they can be friendly.
Okay. And somebody's asking, do you guys have a problem with the cows not wanting to get off the carousel? Do they just want to keep going around and around like a kid at a carousel at a park?
Well, we've kind of trained them to get off, that they're supposed to get off. Oh, it's about to rain. We've trained them that they're supposed to back out at the end. So yeah, they're ready to get off at that point. They want to get back to the barn. They want to eat, drink, and lay down.
Go back to that awesome life that they have inside that cool, comfortable barn. And let's see, one more question. I think we have just time. It sounds like it's about to start raining there, so we don't want to keep you out in the rain. Last question is, how many years? Let's see, how many years do the cows usually stay there on the farm with you guys?
So an average a milking year is probably 7 years or so. And then of course, before they start milking, it's they've been alive for almost 2 years. So okay. 8 or 9 years.
That is wonderful. Well, I think that is all the time that we have with you this evening, Jordan. And we are so appreciative for you taking the time out of your busy day to talk with us and tell us how you guys care amazingly for those cows. And definitely looks like they have it made in the shade, no pun intended there at Barrington Dairies. And thank you for showing us how the milk gets from farm to tanker truck. So I think we're going to say goodbye to Jordan now, because we have the next part of our tour, which is that live cooking demo coming up. And we're going to give Jordan an opportunity to go get freshened up real quick and make her way over to the kitchen. She's going to probably pick up her kids and then get there to see Erica. So hopefully you guys have all gotten the ingredients together and had that recipe in hand and ready to go, so you can join in this unique live cooking demonstration. And while we're waiting for Jordan to get over there, don't forget that the Dairy Alliance is your resource for all things dairy. I encourage you to visit our website, thedairyalliance.com, which is constantly updated with the latest dairy research, recipes, and news. Plus, you can meet and learn more about the other incredible dairy farm families in the Southeast. So please take advantage of these resources brought to you by the generosity of the hardworking dairy farm families in the Southeast. I think that Jordan has probably been able to grab her kids and get into the kitchen with Erica. So I'm going to hand it off to them now. And thank you so much for joining us on the farm this evening. We hope that you enjoy this dairy delicious recipe. And don't forget to share your pictures with you and the family making this recipe or videos. We love to see them all. And make sure you comment on our Facebook page with your favorite dairy ingredient that you use to make your favorite recipes, with the chance to win one of our giveaways. So thank you again for joining us, and have a dairy delicious evening.
Good evening, friends. I am here this evening with the Dairy Alliance with Jordan and her beautiful children, Nolan and Leela. And today we are going to make a simple yet sophisticated recipe that your kids can join in too. Jordan, you're here from which farm?
Our farm is Barrington Dairies. We just took a tour live with it. So.
Oh, that's so exciting. So why do you like cooking with milk?
Oh, well, milk is very nutritious. It has 9 essential nutrients that the body needs. Funny. And it's great for the kids, a good snack, fills them up, has a lot of protein.
I like it. I love cooking with whole milk myself just because of the flavor. It's so many different flavors that go into it, and it's a little bit more creamier and richer.
Yeah, well, and that's because it's the full fat. But when I say full fat, it's only 3% fat versus the 2%. It's not that many more calories, and it's got all the flavor to it.
Well, I love it. Are you guys ready to cook? Okay, you guys going to help me? Okay, so this recipe is going to be a cheesy rice broccoli bake. What I love about this recipe is it's so simple. The kids can join in. Can you step back just a little bit? And we are going to preheat this oven. Don't touch, okay? And right now, make sure you go preheat your oven to 375 because you're going to need to bake it as well. So we're going to wait. Oh, it gets hot very quickly. We are going to then, do you want to put this in for me? Okay. Perfect. Yeah.
Flip it over.
Yeah, flip it. I'll help you out. Boom. Perfect. So you first put your butter in, and you're gonna let the butter melt.
And do you want him to start with the cheese then?
Yes. Will you grate the cheese for me?
No.
Perfect.
You get to do something.
You can use any color.
You can use any kind of cheese. You can.
But I want to do afternoon.
So while he's
you can do
grating,
Hold on, you're gonna put something in
the more cheese, the better. So while you step in over here, I am going to then take the onions and put them in
Like, can you hold
the
it
bowl
Okay.
and saute. Leela, you want to help me add some salt?
Can you put the salt in, Lee?
Okay. Whenever you want, Leela. We're cooking for you. So we are going to be sauteing the onions, adding pepper, salt, and garlic. There you go. Perfect. And this is sauteing. How's the cheese coming over there?
Pretty good.
Wonderful. So we are going to pour the milk, the broth, and the rice in, and we're going to bring that to a simmer. Do you want to pour some milk in for me?
You gonna pour the milk in?
Here you go. And just pour all of it in. You got it?
No.
And then we're going to pour
Keep going.
rice
You want to do some of this, Lee?
and the broth. And we're going to leave that, let that simmer. Here we go. Perfect.
Ready?
Thank you. Good job.
Careful, no.
Perfect. Excuse me. Do you want to pour in the broccoli, Nolan? And the cheese?
Do the broccoli first.
I think I want. Mommy.
What?
Perfect.
I want to do the broccoli too.
Wonderful.
You'll do some of the cheese,
Thank you.
okay? No one can do half the cheese. You can do half the
Okay,
cheese.
so Nolan, I'm going to need you to help me with half of the cheese.
Okay, can you tell me what?
Of course. Okay, your mom's going to help you.
All right, ready? Tip it over a little bit.
Ready? Perfect. We're blending. We're blending the cheese with the rice and the broccoli.
You to hold it.
Okay, I'll hold the bowl.
Perfect. And the great thing about this recipe is you can buy the chicken pre-made, and you can also buy the broccoli pre-cut up, which is going to save a lot of time, especially for the moms on the go.
Oh, yeah.
And then let me just spread this out just a smidget. Love it. And here we go.
Does that look good, Leela?
You're going to eat some?
Why we take that down and answer?
Okay.
You gonna eat some of that? Yeah.
We will leave that in there for exactly 5 minutes, and then we'll taste it out to see what tasty treat we're going to have for dinner this afternoon. So, would you say that when the kids help prepare the meals, they are more inclined to eat the food that they help cook, depending on what it is?
I would say so, yeah. They seem more excited about eating the food when we make it together, and especially while we're making it, they want to eat it. So.
And it teaches confidence with cooking at a very young age, especially with putting in the ingredients and then seeing like start to finish.
Right, yeah, and measurements. They learn measurements while they're going, so and timing, how long it goes in the oven for. So
what's your favorite thing about this recipe? Do you make it a lot at home?
I haven't made this exact recipe at home, but I've made some similar to it. But it's a quick and easy one that we can kind of make last minute. Say we had t-ball games late into the afternoon, evening. It's something I can throw together so that we can all eat something healthy that'll sustain us through the night. So. So that's what I probably like about it the most, that it's easy to do.
Love the convenience, something simple yet sophisticated. And I think it's almost done in the oven, so let's take a peek. Voila! Oh wow, dinner is served. For this recipe and more, make sure you visit thedairyalliance.com. Thank you so much, Jordan, for joining us this evening. And make sure you guys tag the Dairy Alliance in your own recipes.